If you enjoyed today's video, please consider subscribing to the channel. When you do, make sure you hit the notification bell. That means that you will be informed of when a new video has been released. If you would like to take that support one step further, you can do that via Patreon, which is an optional monthly service. You can donate money towards the channel, or you can go over to Ko-fi.com, and for the price of a coffee you can help donate towards the channel as well. Links for all of those will be in the description of the video, and without further ado, enjoy the video. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happen to be watching another interview from the SIL, and I am delighted to be able to say that tonight we are joined by the new number 1 and number 2 management double act for the upcoming season for Coddenham in the SIL Division 1. I've got existing manager to my left, Joel Windsor, and down below on the screen you'll be able to see that the recently appointed assistant manager Paul Grainger is here. Lads, how are we doing this evening? You both well?
Yeah, great.
Good lads. Let's start with yourself, Paul. You're back in football. We had that podcast that we recorded what seems like a lifetime ago now, and you were kind of talking back then how eager you were to get back in. You found yourself a new club. How are you feeling?
Yeah, really good. I mean, basically, I hadn't really ever stopped during lockdown anyway. Because the moment obviously everybody stopped at the start when there was no one allowed to see anybody, but the moment that they allowed you to work with one other person for another household, within the distances, you're able to do one-to-one coaching. And I've been lucky enough that I started coaching. I've got like 3 fantastic lads that play in midfield, all different ages, Ed, Christian and Hugo. Then I started coaching another striker, Nathaniel, and coaching those 4 players who are absolutely quality, all of them, just gave me such a buzz. A bit like when I had the Spanish lad over, that if you're working with people who are at pro club academies or are very close to being at, which all 4 of those are, at that level where they're not far off or they're already there. When you work with players like that, it gives you a massive buzz. And I thought, do you know what? When you're in furlough none, you tend to either be a manager or a coach. Because there's 2 separate roles to an extent. You have kind of manager, assistant manager, coach. And I'd always been manager or occasionally assistant manager. And when Joel contacted me, it also involved a lot more coaching. And I've been doing a massive amount of coaching with youngsters, but I hadn't actually been on an adult training pitch since Cornard about 5 years ago when I did a bit of the pre-season. And I thought, do you know what? I'd really like to get back out and use all the stuff I've been learning. I've been very fortunate where I work that I work with a strength and conditioning coach who's works with England Rugby, the actual main team. And he's been bringing me back incredible knowledge, incredible training methods. Really fantastic stuff that you just can't learn, anywhere else. A lot of sports science, methodology, stuff like that. He's improved my ability. I can say his name, Matt Stagg, is a brilliant lad. He's actually really improved my ability to coach fitness as well. And, with obviously quite a lot of years, should we say, football coaching behind me. It's really great that at 55 years old, I've suddenly got a massive range of addition to my coaching. And Joel was asking, me to get very involved with the coaching. It's local. There's not a lot of travelling. I loved it when I went there. I loved the pub they play out of. I loved the concept of the good dressing rooms, nice pitch. I like the quirkiness of crossing the road to the pitch. I loved my trip there with Bacton a couple of years ago when I was helping at Bacton. I know Division 1 is a very good level of football. And I thought, well, do you know what? What's not to like, so to speak? So why wouldn't I take the opportunity up? I was really impressed with Joel and what he had to say. He wanted me for all the right reasons. He didn't do what a lot of people do, which is invite you to a club and say, oh, can you bring 8 players with you or whatever? There's already a good squad there. And, I genuinely felt he wanted me for me, not the list of players' phone numbers I've got. And that makes a massive difference from my point of view. It's why of the offers I got this summer, that was one of the perfect ones for me.
Definitely. And from yourself, Joel, what was it about Paul and his, sort of standing in the game that kind of made you approach him?
Well, I suppose when you put the podcast together with Paul, and Paul was on your show a couple of months back. I listened to it, and I thought about all the experience and everything that he had and everything. I was quite really impressed by what he had to say. And when I put the advertisement out on our Twitter page to say that I was looking for an assistant, I wanted someone to come in who I could learn off.
Right.
And when we had a couple of applicants and everything, and then Paul put on Twitter as well that he was looking to get back into football. So I gave him a little message, said, will you be interested in doing sort of like coaching as well as being sort of like hands-on management as well, to come over and help me. And he sort of like, yes, I'd be interested in talking to you about it. And we went from there, really.
So really, Paul, it's down to me and the podcast that you've managed to get this role.
Well, it's always down to you, isn't it? You've have sort of rekindled enthusiasm in me a few times, and that's very important. It's these things are great being able to come on, talk about football, and watching other people, listening to other people on here as well. But especially in the times that we were shut in and there was nothing. Stuff like this really keeps you going because it makes you feel, yes, there is still football out there. It's not stopped. It's not gone forever. And it just, all these podcasts and interviews just give you a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. So, from a personal point of view, I would thank you and your Oppo for all the things you did do because, I think they kept a lot of us sane, for want of a better word. I don't know if I am actually sane, but more sane than I would be.
It kept me sane, mate. It kept me sane, trust me, honestly. Oh, no, I really appreciate that. Honestly, really do. Let's talk about you guys working together then, because we briefly spoke off camera before we started. You've had a couple of training sessions already, and from yourself, Joel. Let's talk. I want to get your thoughts first of all. What kind of things has Paul been doing without giving too much away, and how much have you kind of enjoyed having his experience and knowledge to kind of lean on?
So basically, we've been back a couple of weeks now. It's been strange because of the situation that we're in with the whole COVID situation. So in terms of that, is we're keeping as much as we have got big groups come into the sessions and everything, it is still only groups of 5 or 6. Sort of each coach. So we sort of rotate round. The ground is such we all have a section, right? Between me, Paul, and then the reserve team managers and everything. They all get involved as well, and we send the boys round in groups at each station. And obviously, Paul done some ladders the first week, which a lot of the boys came back with their calves hurt because he put them through their paces thoroughly on that first session. They were back, and then he done some ball work this week, and all the just watching over to the other side of the ground. The intensity that he had the boys working at was fantastic for us, only being back 2 weeks. And obviously we can gain. I can gain knowledge of Paul as well, and that's what I want. And hopefully we get an edge with Paul's sort of like knowledge and experience of the game for this coming season.
Yeah, and even with yourself, Paul, and the amount of years of experience you've kind of got to fall back on and the number of coaching sessions you've done, I can imagine the last few months of doing individual training have probably set you up quite nicely for what you've had to come back to in terms of how to keep socially distanced, how to put training sessions on, and really how to get guys and into through their paces really.
Yeah, I mean there's a big difference between doing a one-to-one with a school kid and doing a group of adults, obviously.
Yeah, the school kid will probably listen.
Sorry?
I said the school kid will probably listen.
No, to be fair, the Coddenham lads have been fantastic. They've really bought into everything and tried to do with them.
Yeah.
They've listened to the instructions. Nobody's messed about. Everybody's really, tried really hard they've given everything they could give at training. We've had atrocious weather, as John will tell you. We couldn't have had 2 wetter nights than the 2 Wednesdays we've had. It's absolutely thrown it down. I mean, I've literally wrung my clothes out when I've got home both weeks of water, and they've still come and put a shift in. Nobody's whinged or whined and said, "Oh, so they've just got on with it." As I say, coaching the school kids is a buzz because, to an extent, you're more teaching when you're dealing with, say, like I say, for example, the little striker I do, an absolutely fantastic player, absolutely incredible, but I'm still constantly teaching him. Whereas if you're looking at an SIL1 striker, you're kind of sharpening up what they've already got and getting them fit, etc. You're not actually saying, right, this is how you chip a ball or whatever, because if they don't know that at 25 years old, you've got a bit of a problem. So it's a very different thing. But the one-to-one stuff, and as I say, being able to draw on the knowledge of the strength and conditioning guy we've got at school, just being able to learn so much more from him has just been absolutely incredible. And it just totally gives you the passion, because you then want to go out there and you want to give that to people, and you want to give that knowledge to people, the extra stuff you've done, some of the drills that I've picked up from different places over the last couple of years, because when I've had little bits of time out, I've really studied hard in terms of videos, going to watch other people train. Some pretty high-tech books that some of which are a little bit beyond me, but it's all a matter of you can go and you can watch a really good coach. I mean, for example, I had Colin Wallington, who's very well known in non-league circles. He's done a lot of my pre-seasons over the last few years. Brilliant coach, does a lot of pro club academy work and stuff. And when I've watched him, I've picked up some of his tips, and one of his drills that he used 5 years ago when I was there, I used on Wednesday night, and the lads loved it because they'd never done it before. And I think that's a lot of the stuff. There's a lot of people who just, they do the courses, they buy the books, and they're doing the same stuff they were 10 years ago. There's a lot of coaches I'm friends with who say, "Oh, no, I'm all right. I've been coaching for years." But you go and watch their session, and it's exactly the same session you saw them do 10 years ago. They've not adapted. And I think football is constantly adapting. And, yes, I'm quite old, and learning's a little bit harder when you're older. But I'm constantly trying to learn every single week something new about football, taking on other people's opinions. I would never say I think I'm, absolutely nailed on right on any subject, because there's always someone who can tweak your right and make it even better. There's always someone knows more than you. I'm very grateful for the people I've had around me, I've got around me. As I say, I think, you do get to a stage where your enthusiasm just suddenly all comes back. And that's what I've had. I've had sort of like a few years, maybe going a little bit through the motions, always putting maximum effort in, but not trying to improve myself. I've always tried to improve the players I'm with. But then I've sort of, the last 2 or 3 years, I've suddenly thought, you know what, I could be so much better. And I've made a real effort so that I am so much better than I was. Now, some people might say I'm still rubbish, obviously, but that doesn't matter, because whatever level I am in reality, I know I'm better than I was 5 years ago by a very big margin. And that's what matters to me, because if I can get with a player and he learns one thing off me that makes a difference to his game, then I've achieved something.
Yeah, definitely. So from yourself, Joel, how do you think you two are going to be sort of like be able to work moving forward in terms of a number one and number two? What kind of strengths and do you think you're going to be able to draw from each other?
At the end of the day, the boys at Coddenham are boys that I've grown up with, most of them. So a lot of them have been we've been through a lot together with the club and at different clubs and everything like that. So in terms of they've got me, they know me. I've been at Coddenham since it formed, sort of like the backbone as such. And I have the drive that I want to take the club further forward. I think I know my limitations. I'm still only 25, and I wanted to bring someone in with with experience who could give me a helping hand and give me some more knowledge than I've already got in the game and in local level and everything, and give us that extra advantage to take that step forward and really push this football club on.
Yeah, let's talk about taking a step on the next season then, because the last 2 years for the club have seen a gradual, I say adaptation to Division One. The first season in the league, you just about survived finishing above the relegation zone, but this season's finished, despite the fact that we never actually got to complete the league season. You ended up finishing in was it 7th place?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So for you as a manager, thinking back on the past 2 years, how do you think the club's done?
Obviously, when we got promoted from Division 2 and we had that first year in Division 1, it was a learning curve. We're coming up against some really, really big established clubs in the local area. You got your Ransoms, you had your Bactons as well, and you had clubs who had been around and been in the senior and done it.
Yeah.
We were still very young. We were only formed in like 2013, and we were slowly making the gradual rise up the league. So, and Division 1 was a learning curve for us when we first went into it.
Yeah.
But we stuck together and we got there. We got the results towards the end of the season to survive for another season as such.
Yeah.
And we really wanted to kick on last season and better ourselves. It wasn't a fact that we wanted to set the world alight. We knew the clubs like Halesworth and Ransoms were gonna probably be with their recruitment that Ransoms did last summer.
Yeah.
And Halesworth's squad that they had from winning Division 2, they were going to be forces to reckon with, and which they proved to be. You got the likes of Sporting 87 and Wickham Market, but we thought that we could give it a go and hopefully finish around mid-table, which we achieved. We had a really slow start, but after Christmas, I think from after December, actually, I think that we had 3 defeats in our last 12, something like that. So to finish that strongly is something really to build on for next season.
Definitely. And for yourself, Paul, looking from the outside in, like myself, you've been involved in the SIL for a little bit now in terms of being a few clubs here and there. What have you made of Coddenham looking from the outside?
I mean, obviously, I'm not very expert, not having seen many of the games, but I went over there with Bacton the year before last, and Bacton had a good season that season. I think we finished 4th. Got to Portman Road, and we were a good side, and they really ran us close at their place. They could easily have got a draw. It was a really good game of football. I must admit, I felt very, very welcome there. This will sound a bit bad, but I loved the place they went back to afterwards. I really like the country club where they go for a drink afterwards, and that is important. You don't want to be going back to some really horrible dive. I've been at a couple of clubs that went back to awful pubs where you just didn't want to be. And it's nice to go back to know that they're a very nice, they're a tight knit bunch, but they're really good lads, and they enjoy their Saturdays, they enjoy an away game, and I want to do that as well. I want to enjoy my Saturdays. I've probably got limited years left in the game now, being a bit of a dinosaur, but I want to enjoy these last however many years I've got in local football, and I want to be with a bunch of people who are playing for the right reasons, not because someone's offered them £5 more than someone up the road has.
Yeah.
I don't mind that, but I've done that now. I've been to King's Lynn on a Tuesday night and got home at 1 a.m. I've been to Fakenham on a Wednesday night and got home at some remote hour, having a knock off work. And now I want to be local, but I'm still very ambitious.
Yeah.
I want to be at a club that's successful. The big selling point, Joel really sold the club to me of what the ambitions they are. They're not just going out they're not kind of making any bold predictions, but they're not out there to just turn up and not care and say, oh, well, we're in Division 1, it's okay, They want to get to senior football, however many years it might take. Could be this year, could be next year, could be the one after. But they've got that ambition there. And, Joel's very, very hungry to achieve that.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of people I want to be around because, although I've kind of done my stint at the higher leagues, I'm still ambitious. I still want to win leagues. I want to win trophies. I want to go to Portman Road again. I've got as much desire for that as I've always had. Yeah. The enthusiasm hasn't diminished one iota, and I feel this is a club where I'm going to enjoy it, but I have a chance to be part of a successful, ambitious, and very professional setup, I have to say.
Definitely.
And that's important.
So, Joel, then, let's look forward to next season. He's briefly talked about it. I asked the question to everyone, so I'm going to ask the same question to you. What are your expectations for next year? Where are you looking to aim at finishing? Is it a higher finish than last season? What are your thoughts on next year?
Obviously, it's going to be a long summer. Everybody knows that. We finished in March. So teams have been obviously managers have been in people's ears, and they'll be constantly in people's ears until we start probably the end of September, say.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a long summer. It sees who recruits who. Wickham Market have obviously started strong with their recruitment program going in.
Definitely.
So they've signed a couple of really decent players in where they've brought in. Sporting 87 are always going to be strong. Jonathan's got them really well drilled over there, and they seem a really close knit side that you're not going to break up. So they're gonna stick together and be a force again. But then it's sort of like you look at the others. You look at ourselves, the Stow Uplands, the Grunsboroughs, Southwolds, and that. The chasing pack as from last season.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be pretty similar again in the fact that hopefully my aim is for us to better than what we did this year. Top 5 would be lovely. If we can go higher, then fantastic. If we do drop off a bit, then it just shows the strength of the division, because there's going to be some tough sides again in it. Tattingstone and Bedricksworth aren't going to be underestimated at all.
No, definitely
and
not.
Barham have recruited well as well by the looks of it. Kieran Beresford going in there, back to his old stomping ground again. And the players by name, if he can keep them committed and they're going to play every week, then they're going to be strong again.
Yeah, definitely. For yourself, Paul, I'll ask the same question. What are you ideally looking for, or is your job more for you as a personal ambition? Is it more just to get back into football on a weekly basis?
No. I'm one of these people. I always aim for the very top, and then if I fall short, I'll still do well. I think if I said to you, I want to finish 6th, and I fall short by 3 places, then I'll finish at the lower end of the table. So my ambition. And I'm not making any promises it's a reality, but my ambition would be to get promoted. And if we fall a few places short, we finish 5th, I'll take that. But the ambition, as always, has to be promoted, because you have to turn up to every game believing you can win, or you shouldn't turn up. So if you can win every game, then why can't you get promoted? That's how I see football, basically.
Yeah.
But I'm one of these people. I could take a village side to Old Trafford against Manchester United first and still think I had a chance. The reality would be it's a 1 in a million chance. Yeah. But I just think, well, maybe this is that 1 in a million day. Yeah. So I always believe in turning up to every single game, thinking, yeah, we can win this. We can organise. We can have a plan. We can get our tactics right, and we can get a result anywhere against anyone. And of course, anyone can against us as well. That's the way Division 1 looks like being. I mean, all the teams Joel mentioned there, I must admit, I've been quite impressed with the work Wen Haston have done as well. Wen Haston have picked up a couple of really good lads. I mean, Charlie Canham, I've seen play, really good player. So, they're signing well as well. I suspect pretty well every club in this league. Tattingstone I saw last year. Really, really good side. I was very impressed with the football they played. They were one of the best footballing sides I saw last year, even including the senior division. So there's going to be some really good sides. But as I say, everybody can beat us, I'm sure, and we can beat everybody. And it's just a matter of getting it right from our point of view, really. I shouldn't say this to Joel, but the buck does stop with us. At the end of the day, it does. We're the ones who are going out there every Saturday. If we pick the right team and the right system, we can get a result against anybody, because we've got good players there. I mean, there's quite a few players there with quite a lot of third-line none experience. I mean, one of the lads who's there I've had him at 6 different clubs, 4 of which are third-line none clubs. Brilliant. And it makes a change for me. Normally I sign him, but this time he's already there. So, there's quite a bit there. There's some good knowledge there. There's some, a lot of young players there that are really talented. There's a lad there. I'm not going to name any names in case Joel doesn't want me to, but there's a lad there that I've tried to sign 3 or 4 times in my Thurlow Nunn days. Really, really tried hard to get.
Right.
Who I really, really rate. And there's people there who can do things. There's a lad there that I had at Team Bury when I was there. There's plenty of experience, even though they're a young side. There's a lot of experience there. Some wise old heads and some very, very talented lads as well. And you've got match winners there. And if you've got match winners, then I always think that they're the best players to have. The bloke who gets you a hat trick when you win 5-0 has nowhere near the worth to me than the bloke who gets you an equaliser at 1-0 down when you're playing rubbish.
Yeah.
It'll just get you something out of nothing to get you back in the game. They're the people you want, and I think we've got quite a few of those at Coddenham, even on what I've seen already. Yeah,
definitely. Joe, I want to finish up on 2 questions with you, if that's all right. The first one I want to ask is about the club's social media presence, because I think you guys have got one of the best and most active Twitter and Instagram pages going around. Now, I've briefly started to talk to these to some clubs, and I had the conversation last night with management at Kesgrave Kestrels, who were very that they were so driven and focused about what they wanted to do on social media. So for you as a club, why is it so important that you have that side of your game as well as what's going on the pitch?
I think it's about the image of the club. You want to put the image of the club in the best possible light. You want to have people talking about you. It's not just about being known by your community as such as like the football community and everything. It's for the sponsors and everything. If you can get your name out and about and being on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and get people following you and everything, the more followers you get, the more chance you are going to attract a big sponsor. And at the end of the day, it's hard attracting sponsors. So if someone can put the effort in to run the social media side and do that, then so be it, because it's only going to benefit the football club.
Yeah, definitely. And the final question I'm going to ask you, again, this is a new feature I'm doing with these interviews. I'm giving people the opportunity to promote the club to anybody who is interested in coming along to find a new club. So what is it about Coddenham, Joel, that if anybody is looking for a new club and is interested, wants to come along to a training session, what is it about the club that really is a selling point and you can attract somebody to it?
We've got an absolutely fantastic bunch of boys over there. The club is run absolutely brilliantly. The backroom staff are great. You've got our chairman, who puts a lot of time and a lot of effort into helping me. And then obviously we've got me and Paul going to do our best. We'll always put our hands up and say we're not going to be world beaters, but we'll always put in the graft and we'll put in 100% effort to get the best out of you. But yeah, honestly, the club is going from strength to strength. We've just got a couple of big grants from the Football Foundation to improve our ground, and it's just getting better and better as the seasons go on. The club is growing, and hopefully we can grow it into being a top side in Suffolk.
Definitely.
And if you want to come along to training, feel welcome. Just give me a text on, or drop me a message on Twitter, Facebook. I don't mind, or the club page. That's fine. We can have a chat.
Definitely. Paul, anything you want to add on to that to sell the club?
Yeah, I think the word you're looking there is professionalism, isn't it? It's one of the things I did mention that really impressed me about the place. That I'm not saying that you want to be bombarded with tweets that are meaningless and nonsense, but there's nothing worse than you decide to have a little look on a club's Twitter account and then they last tweeted 2 years ago.
Yeah,
because the moment I see that, I think your club's rubbish. Now, it's not obviously that's not the case, but there are clubs who've got these websites and you go on it and it's like 2017-18 season, and you think, well, what's people done for 2 years? Has it been that bad that you're that ashamed you don't want anyone to play the game for 2 years? And professionalism for me is everything. I'm not remotely saying I'm the best manager or coach in the world or anywhere in the top thousands or anything, but I always like to think that every player who's been coached or managed by me, I've done absolutely everything I could to further their career as much as I could, and that they can't fault my effort, they can't fault my honesty, because again, it's all professionalism. And I'll treat every game at Coddenham as if I was at Colchester United or somewhere. I'll say that especially for Joel because he's a mad Col U fan. But, every game you have to do things properly, and there's a lot of good managers out there who, when you see how really good they are at what they do, the preparation, the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, and a lot of those are very big on social media,
Yeah.
And you can't help but be really impressed at some of the managers I see on there. I mean, I'm lucky enough to know some of them, and they're quite high up, some of them, and the level they work at. Not everybody's into social media. Fair enough. I've very rarely seen anything from Ben Chenery at Bury, but he's a brilliant manager, absolutely brilliant manager. But he doesn't particularly go into that. But then equally so, you could look at, say, I don't know, Mark Benterman at Whittam, who does do a lot of social media, and he's also a brilliant manager.
Yeah.
But probably more people will see him because of what he's doing on social media.
Yeah.
Than we'll see the people who aren't doing it. And, you've obviously got to have something to shout about. There's no point in having a Twitter account and going on there all the time saying how great you are if you're bottom of the league getting beat 7-0 every week. You've got to be honest then and try and use the Twitter account to recruit players.
Yeah.
But, if you're doing well, if your club is well run and it's professional and it's doing good on the field and you're offering players the chance to develop and improve, then why not tell the world?
Yeah.
I had a groundhopper speak to me the other day who goes around all the big grounds and whatever, and he's known me for years because I've always looked after him when he's come to a club I've been at, and he can't wait to come to Coddenham.
Yeah.
And he's normally used to going to sort of, step 4 or 5 clubs, but he's going to come and have a look at Coddenham because it's all media stuff. It's all social media. I meet these people, groundhoppers, through social media. They come from London for the day to watch Coddenham. For me, that's a great thing. We've put our club out there. Why not? Why not do it? What possible harm can it do?
100%. Well, I look forward to coming back to the club this season whenever we do kick off. Joel, you guys have always been welcoming to me. Any opportunity that I've had to record you guys, and for yourself, Paul, it's just good to see you back in the game and in this particular role. I can't wait to see how this is going to work out. It's quite an exciting partnership on paper. So let's see how it transpires on the pitch. But Joel, Paul, thank you very much for both coming on.
No problem, pleasure.
Really appreciate your time. Really appreciate it, lads.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Me or Joel?
He's got to put up with me for a whole year. You need to feel sorry for him, not happy.
But if you guys have enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on notifications so that you are informed of when a video comes out. If you want to take that support one step further, you've got either Patreon or Ko-fi, which are monthly donation or one-off donations. In the links for both of those will be in the description. That will be massively appreciated. But until next time, as always, adios.